everybody, thank you for joining us today. My name is Nikita. I'm the product manager at Tax990. Today we're going to talk about Schedule B, which is the schedule of contributors. If you have questions during the presentation, please add them to the chat and we will address them at the end of the webinar. We do want to mention we're not tax advisors and we will not be providing specific tax advice. Today we'll purely be discussing IRS e-filing requirements and the process of e-filing with Tax990. For specific questions, please contact a tax advisor or the IRS. This presentation will be recorded and available at tax990.com. During today's webinar, we'll be discussing Schedule B, who files Schedule B, common errors associated with Schedule B, Schedule B specifics, including the general versus special rule, and what the difference between person payroll and non-cash is. And then we'll have time for a short Q&A. Schedule B is used to provide information on contributions the organization reported as revenue. Contributions reportable on Schedule B are contributions, grants, devices, and gifts of money or property, whether or not the charitable purpose from all persons who contribute $5,000 or more during the tax year. You'll be required to report the name, address, donation amount that meets or exceeds $5,000, and type of contribution for each contributor. Schedule B is applicable towards the 990EZ, the 990, and the 990PF form. Schedule B is required by any organization that lists revenue contributions greater than $5,000 unless it certifies that it does not meet the filing requirements by checking the appropriate box on the 990 series return. You may not be required to file Schedule B if your revenue contributions exceeds $5,000, but not one single contributor donated a total amount of $5,000 or more dollars. For example, if you receive 6 $1,000 donations, your total contribution amount would exceed $5,000, but since one single contributor did not exceed $5,000, you would not be required to report the contributions on Schedule B. This means all your donations were individually less than $5,000, or if your organization did not receive contributions exceeding $5,000. However, if a single contributor donates multiple times, and their total contributions from the year add up to $5,000 or more dollars, you could report that contributor on Schedule B. So Schedule B has very specific requirements based on total contribution. If you're not sure if you should be completing Schedule B, you can give us a call and we can help further explain this process or provide guidance. But again, we cannot tell you specifically what to report because we're not tax advisors. So you can always contact the IRS for confirmation. If an organization is not required to complete Schedule B, you'll need to indicate it on the 990 series return. This tells the IRS that you're aware of the contribution amounts, you confirm that the information meets IRS filing requirements, and you're not required to complete the schedule. If you do not indicate that Schedule B is not required by your organization and you do not complete the Schedule B, you'll get an error on the return. With Tax990, we won't allow you to proceed with transmitting until the error is cleared, meaning you would either need to add to Schedule B or indicate that Schedule B is not required. If you're filing a 990EZ, you can indicate that Schedule B is not required by checking the box on page 1, Part H in the header section. This is where the organization name, EIN, and address is located on page 1 of the form. There's a small box labeled H. In that box, you can indicate that Schedule B is not required if your organization does not need to attach Schedule B. On the 990 form, you would need to check yes or no on Part 4, Line 2 to indicate whether or not the Schedule B is required by your organization. And on the 990 PF, you would need to check the box on Part 1, Line 2 to indicate if you are not required to file Schedule B with your 990 PF form. Again, if you have questions on the location of that, give us a call. We'd be happy to provide further guidance once we locate your account. For the most part, Schedule B tends to be a pretty straightforward schedule. I just want to go over a couple of the most common errors that our support team sees when clients are working through Schedule B, because it often relates to just how you're providing the information and may assist you with completing that process once you go into your account. So oftentimes we get phone calls or emails from clients and simply they're just missing information related to the name and address of the contributor. This information must be completed in order to proceed. If you do not have the information required, you will get an audit error and you won't be able to proceed. So missing information related to full name and address may just include a missing city or a missing zip code or a 4-digit zip code that should be a 5-digit zip code. Very small things that tend to get people stuck when they're completing that information. So make sure that you're providing a full name and a full address for the contributor. We do see a lot of errors related to contribution value being reported incorrectly. So keep in mind that Schedule B is for contributions that equal or are greater than $5,000. If you list a contribution that's less than $5,000, you'll get an error on the form. We also get a lot of calls about the type of contribution. While it does not often cause an error, there's often confusion about the type of contribution, and we will review that a little bit more in another slide. But just make sure you're confirming with the contributor or with a tax advisor if you're unsure of how to report the type of contribution. If you choose the wrong option, it may lead to being required to complete unnecessary sections of the schedule. For example, if you indicate that your contribution was a non-cash contribution, then page 3 of Schedule B will generate for you to complete. And that could be really confusing if page 3 doesn't apply to you just based off the incorrect type of contribution chosen. So like I said, we'll talk more in just a few minutes about the types of contribution, but make sure you're confirming with the contributor what type it should be reported as if you're unsure. Lastly, there's often confusion about whether the organization should select a special or a general rule on page 1 of Schedule B, and we're actually going to look further into this on the next slide. But again, I just want to mention, if you're unsure of which rule your organization follows, you should contact the IRS or a tax advisor for guidance. You can also take a look at the IRS Schedule B instructions to help clarify the determinations. But as with most other things, if you indicate the incorrect rule, it could lead to you completing parts of the schedule or additional schedules that may not be required by your organization. So you do want to confirm which rule and which contribution type you should provide on the form, just to make sure you're not doing unnecessary amounts of work. So as I mentioned, we're going to just go a little bit deeper into the difference between the general rule and the special rule. So in most cases, the rule specification will be determined based on how you complete the 990 series return if you're using Tax 990. Based on how you provide your responses and your type of exempt status that you indicate on your 990, Tax 990 will help you determine that rule for you. However, the most common option is going to be the general rule, which applies to organizations that receive contributions totaling $5,000 or more in money or property from any one contributor. The special rule will be considered based on your exempt status. So the second most common option that we do see is for indicating Schedule A. So if you are a 501c3 organization filing a 990 or 990EZ, and on Schedule A, you met the 33 1/3% support test, then you would probably qualify for the first special rule. This is the second most common option next to the general rule. Now, if you're filing a 990PF, you're just going to fall into that general rule category because Schedule A doesn't apply to you. Now, a 501c7, 8, or 10 organization that received total contributions of $1,000 exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, literary, or educational purposes, or the prevention of cruelty to children and animals would qualify for special rule number 2. If you fall into that 501c7, 8, or 10 category and you did not exceed more than $1,000 in contributions, but you fall under this exempt status, you would qualify for the third special rule option. And just very quickly, I'll show you what I'm talking about with the special and general rules. So this is page 1 of Schedule B. That first general rule here will automatically indicate for a 990PF, and based on how you complete the 990 or 990EZ and the Schedule A qualifications, it may automatically indicate there as well. If you follow any of these special rules, this is what I mean by special rule 1, that meets the 33 1/3% support test on Schedule A. The second option, for the contributions of more than $1,000 for religious, charitable, scientific, so on and so forth. And then this third option for less than $1,000 for that same category. So you can check one of those boxes on the schedule specifically. Okay, so moving on to person payroll or non-cash. So as I mentioned, and the next slide I'll show you again what that's going to look like. But as I mentioned, it's important that you indicate the correct type of contribution when completing Schedule B. There are 3 different contribution types. As mentioned, there's person, payroll, and non-cash. And your contribution may fall under the person category if the value was provided directly from the contributor in the form of cash, credit, check, money order, electronic funds withdrawal, or wire transfer. So if direct money was changing hands, it can be considered person. If the contribution was forwarded by an employer that withheld funds from the employee's pay and gives the funds to the organization, this would be considered a payroll contribution. So something like a payroll deduction that comes directly from the business to the organization out of the employee's pay would be considered payroll. You can select non-cash if the contribution came in the form of property, such as equipment or building space. Now with non-cash, you do have to complete additional sections of the form to explain what type of non-cash contribution was provided. So you can see here, this is just page 2 of Schedule B, and you can see here, this is where you would indicate the type of contribution. And as it says, complete part 2 for non-cash contributions, which is why I mentioned it's important to confirm the type of contribution, because choosing person or payroll means you don't have to complete other sections of the schedule, whereas choosing non-cash would mandate you to complete other sections of the schedule. And we hate for you to do things that are unnecessary for your form. So just confirm those types of contributions before proceeding. Okay. So, since the IRS mandated e-filing, your organization must use an e-file provider to complete and transmit the returns. The IRS mandates that all 990 forms be filed electronically. So, choosing an IRS authorized provider is crucial. However, you should also keep in mind that the features and tools they offer are also important to making the right choice for your organization. So, just like choosing a technology-driven accounting software, choosing an e-file provider that meets your needs will streamline your reporting. Tax 990 is an IRS authorized e-file provider. We have over a decade of experience e-filing tax forms. And collectively, Tax 990 and its sister products offer the option to e-file over 70 different tax forms, including business tax forms such as 1099, W-2s, 941s, and BOIR forms. We have ACA-wise that provides the ability to e-file the 1094 and 1095B and C forms for the Affordable Care Act. And we also have Express Extension, which provides the option to file extension forms for both business and personal taxes. If you want additional information on any of these other products, please reach out to our team and we can provide you with some additional context as well as the direct support line for those other products. Filing with Tax 990 can be done in just a few simple steps. Once you've created your account and added your organization, you'll choose the form you need to file. Using one of our 2 available filing formats, you'll add all the necessary information to the return. And once you complete the return, Tax 990 will confirm the form and information provided has met all IRS form instructions using our internal audit. When you've cleared your audit errors, you'll have the option to share the return as necessary, and the final step is just transmitting the form to the IRS. Today we did talk a lot about Schedule B, but with all of the schedules, Tax 990 will automatically generate the schedules on the form for you at no additional cost. So based on how you provide the information on your 990 series return, all of your schedules will automatically generate. So you don't have to really guess if it's required or not for most of our schedules. This week's feature spotlight, we're going to talk about a couple of great features. As most of you know, we do have over 20 different Tax 990 industry-leading features available within your Tax 990 account. Today, we'll just spotlight a couple of them. We do have the option to copy from a prior year, so if you file consecutively with Tax 990, when you start your following year return, you'll be able to pull a lot of information over from the previous return to save you some time. Things such as prior year revenue and expenses and things like that. We have a bulk upload option if you have a significant amount of contributors. We do have the option to complete all of those on a spreadsheet and upload the spreadsheet to save you time in entering each of those individually into the application. You just complete the spreadsheet, you upload it, and we generate all of that content for you on your form. We also have 2-factor authentication security, which allows you to enable the 2-factor authentication for your account just to provide you that extra piece of security. Now, Tax 990 is SOC 2 certified. We go through very vigorous training and reporting to confirm that our site is secure and your information is secure, but we also offer that 2-factor authentication option that allows you to download a 2-factor authentication app to your phone. You scan a QR code in your Tax 990 account, and then every time you log into your account, you get that code from the app on your phone in order to proceed. If you have questions along the way, we do offer customer support that's dedicated and personalized. We're available Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can reach us by phone, email, or chat. We can assist you with your specific account questions and provide guidance. You won't need to be on hold for several hours or put on a callback list. If you need assistance, you just give us a call. If we don't get to your call, we will return your call within 15 minutes of receiving it. So please reach out to us. We're here to help you along the way. But keep in mind, as the May 15th deadline approaches, our wait times may be a little bit longer. So you can absolutely get started on your form now and save yourself a little bit of time during the deadline season. Tax 990s put a lot of work into providing you with the best resources. You can review our knowledge base to get quick answers to common questions related to the filing process, form information, or filing requirements. You can also check out our YouTube and blog channels for helpful step-by-step guides and instructions. All of our webinars are available on our YouTube channel. We've turned most of our webinars into blogs as well. We've also created a significant amount of, again, knowledge base, frequently asked questions, videos, and blogs based on common questions we receive with step-by-step instructions on how to go about either resolving processes, resolving errors, resolving rejections, so many topics. So please check out those different tools that we provide. Leading up to the May 15th deadline, we'll be hosting a webinar bootcamp every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to focus on specific topics related to 990 series filing. You can visit tax990.com/webinars to register for any of our upcoming webinars that may relate to your filing requirements or just to learn more about filing with Tax 990. If you're unable to attend any of the webinars, we'll post them all on our website after they air live. They're all going to be short 20-minute topic focused trainings similar to today's. Next week, we're going to take a look at using our bulk upload feature that I mentioned in our feature spotlight today. Okay, so we'll finish up today with a quick Q&A. If we don't get to your questions, please reach out to our support team at support@tax990.com. We'll also send a follow-up email if we're unable to review your questions live. So if you want to go ahead and post your questions in the chat, please do so. I'll give you a couple minutes. I'm also going to go back to our support page so you can write down our support information in case you need to reach out to us. But go ahead, post your questions, and we'll answer them live. Okay, let's see. So we have somebody asking about a public disclosure copy. That's a great question. So with Schedule B, you can download your PDF of the return in Tax 990. A lot of our clients have requested a public disclosure copy over the years, which just really means that the Schedule B addresses are redacted from the PDF copy. So you're not sharing a copy of your form with other individuals' addresses on the form. Once your form is accepted, we do provide a public disclosure copy in your account. So you'll have access to both the professional PDF for your records, and you'll have access to the public disclosure document with those addresses being retracted from the form. So you can share that with, if you're going to look for contributions or grants and need to share that information, you can do so without giving confidential information. Someone's wondering if schedules are included in the filing fee. Yes, as I mentioned, Tax 990 will generate the schedules based on how you complete the form. The schedules are all included in the filing fee. For more information on that, you can visit tax990.com/pricing. Okay. We have someone wondering if they can file for a prior year. Yes, Tax 990 always supports the current and 2 prior tax years. So right now, you can file any of our forms for 2021, 2022, and 2023. All right, we'll just take a couple more questions here. We're about out of time. We have someone's asking what the May 15th deadline's for. So I did mention the May 15th deadline a couple of times. It is a very popular and common deadline for a lot of organizations. If the organization operates on a calendar tax year, meaning your tax year begins January 1st and ends December 31st, then your deadline is May 15th. Additionally, if your original deadline was November and you filed an extension, then your extended deadline is May 15th. If you're not 100% sure what your deadline is, you can take a look at your IRS determination letter for confirmation, or you can give us a call and we can try to help provide guidance on what that might be. All right. We'll take one last question here. Someone's wondering if they can amend a return. Yes, with Tax 990, we do support the option to amend a return, whether or not the return was filed with Tax 990. If it was filed with Tax 990, it has to be accepted, and then you'll have the option just on your home screen to amend the accepted return. If it was not filed with Tax 990, you can file an amendment using our form-based filing format and clicking the box on page 1 to indicate it's an amended return. If you cannot find that box, please give us a call prior to transmitting so we can help you confirm that you've indicated to the IRS that it's an amendment. Okay, that's all we have time for today. I appreciate you guys attending our webinar. Like I said, if we didn't get to your questions, we will follow up with an email. You can also contact us at the support options available here on the screen. Otherwise, good luck with your deadline, and please reach out. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.